Oh, hey guys, it's Mick here. Today I'm working on my tractor. So it's getting towards the end of winter, I'm about out of firewood, and then my freaking tractor starts having issues. The radiator shot craps on me, so I pulled it out and I'm getting ready to put a new one in. But check this out, for those of you who haven't seen it, here's my tractor. It's a 1954 Ferguson TO30. This is I need this thing for cutting firewood, man. I can haul a lot of firewood out. But check it out, I already got the radiator pulled out, and I'll show you how easy it is. It literally took me like 3 minutes. But, okay, just take your hose clamps loose. Here's your water pump. Take the clamp loose on there, and it goes to the lower, I'll show you when I get back together, but the lower port on the radiator. Pull that off. Your intake up here, that's a little short hose, take clamp loose there, and then you got this little bar that goes to the front of the radiator, or to the back side of the top of the radiator, that you pull that, just a little cotter pin in there you pull out, get that out of the way, and then there's 2 bolts that you take loose, and then it just lifts right up out of there. So I'll go show you my, oh, it also got a fan shroud on it. So here's the fan shroud. Okay, it's just got a couple bolts, or a couple little screws down each side, little bitty guys that you just take loose, and that pull right off of the radiator too. So here's the short hose that goes on top. The thermostat is in that short piece of hose. I went ahead and bought a new thermostat. The one that was in there, I don't even know where I put it. I put it in my scrap. There's a little scrap bucket here. Here's the old one. Probably nothing wrong with it, because I had actually replaced that about 5 or 6 years ago when I rebuilt the tractor. I did it like a kind of a total rebuild, breakdown rebuild on it. But I'm just going to go ahead while I'm in there. It's a $3 part, just replace it. And then here's the other hose. You got to watch, the other hose has a spring in it. That's, I guess, helps the hose keep its shape or whatever. So anyway, I'll show you my old radiator. So here's the radiator I pulled out, and it's been repaired like 1,000 times. I constantly had problems with this little part kind of ripping, and I've resoldered it and soldered it and soldered. I've used silver solder on it, and it seemed like it actually held pretty well after I used the silver solder on it. But that's where that little pin goes, and it just recently started leaking up in here. I think it actually blew out somewhere between the fins or something. And after that, I'm just like, I'm just going to replace it. And I actually, let me see if I can find it on here. I think this is the original radiator, because, where's it at? I saw it somewhere on here. Ah, yeah. It's got the part number right there, and it's a PO, part number TO 8009. I'm just assuming, I don't know a lot about these tractors, but I'm just assuming based on that part number, how it's stamped on there, that this is actually the original radiator. So I still haven't decided if I'm going to try to take it and get it fixed or not, and hold on to it, or just scrap it. But kind of a funny story. I called a local radiator shop, and I said, "Hey man, I got a radiator out of a Ferguson." I said, "Can you fix that?" He goes, "Well, you can bring it in and take a look at it." I said, "All right." I said, "Well, let me ask you this, is it worth fixing, or if I can buy a brand new one for a couple $100, should I just go ahead and buy a new one?" And he got all pissed off at me. He's like, "Wow, you do whatever you want. If you can find one for a couple $100 on the internet, then just do whatever." And he hung up on me, and I'm like, okay, I was just kind of thinking, I don't know if it's worth fixing. If he says it's worth, yeah, you want to keep your original radiator and fix it, it's about better than something I buy off the internet, then I would have just took it down to the guy and got it fixed. But I don't know. I kind of think maybe that competition's getting a little stiff with all the internet stuff, and the guy's probably having a hard time maybe. I don't know, but I just elected to go ahead and buy the new radiator. I'm going to hold on to this one for now, and we'll see how it works out. So let's go put this thing back together. So here is the new radiator that I picked up off the eBay for, I think I paid $180 for it or something. So we're going to get that back in there. First thing I got to do is the bolts in the old radiator in the bottom. See, I guess it's made to kind of use the bigger carriage bolts. Well, in the other radiator they were tack welded in, and so I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing. I got new carriage bolts I'm going to tack weld on here, because I figure if they did that at the factory there's probably a reason, so I'm going to do it to this one. So that's what I'm going to do now. Alright, we got them welded in there, and we, started a little fire over here. Better put that out. Look, it's getting a little smoky in here. So now hopefully it all lines up real good. And before you put it in, you don't want to forget there is a pad that goes on both sides. So I'll get those put on. Here's my other one. Get those put on, and now we'll stick her in there. Alright, everything's lined up good. So let's go ahead. And I'm leaving it loose because we got to put that top hose on. I'm going to go ahead and put my bottom hose on here. So we'll pull these caps off here. Don't want it to fall. Put that in there. So let's go get our hoses. Actually, I think we'll go ahead and put the top hose on first. Alright, so we got it all back in there. Hoses are connected. That's where that little rod connects to. The top hose is connected. The thermostat goes with the little domey thing pointing towards the engine. The hardest part with this aftermarket radio was the fan shroud. It was a bitch to get on there because it didn't line up perfectly just like with the original one. And the other thing I'm having to do is do a little tweaking to make sure the fan blade's not hitting the shroud in a few places. So now we're ready to fill it up. Alright, we got her filled up. We'll let her run for a while, make sure there's no air in there. We'll call this job good. Look, it's time for the snow again. Anyway, there's how easy it is to replace radiator and Ferguson TO30. It took me about 2 hours, and that was with all the little stupid modifications I had to make. So, not too bad. Anyway, the next thing we're going to do is put new brakes on, so stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching.